Looking likely that the political crisis which has gripped Ivory Coast in West Africa is about to be resolved. In the violence that followed a disputed presidential election last November, at least 1,500 people have been killed. Tonight it's reported that the man who lost that contest, Laurent Gbagbo, has surrendered and asked for UN protection. In a moment we'll hear how the battered economy can recover, but first our Africa correspondent Emma Hurd reports on hopes for a peaceful solution.
Abidjan's terrified residents are still trying to escape the fighting. Walking out, hands raised, hoping to reach safety. But all of this could be over soon. This might have been the game changer. UN and French forces firing on Laurent Gbagbo's military bases. The helicopter assaults lighting up the city were ordered to protect civilians. But this first foreign military intervention in this conflict also targeted the presidential compound, where Gbagbo's believed to be holed up in a bunker and finally negotiating his surrender now.
Ce que nous souhaitons aujourd'hui, c'est que Gbagbo ne...
We don't want Gbagbo to remain in position, so if there is any possibility for him to leave power, we are ready. On other matters, particularly rumours over where he will go, I can't say anything at this point in time. But we wish for the fighting to stop immediately and for reconciliation and reconstruction in Ivory Coast under the leadership of Alassane Ouattara.
This is the heaviest fighting yet in Abidjan. A city where the streets have emptied and the 4 million residents still trapped seem to be in hiding. The battles are taking place in residential areas. This video appears to show the damage caused when a rocket landed near people's homes.
Il faut éviter que la liste des victimes s'allonge.
On TV, the calls continue for Gbagbo to go. This is his own army chief of staff who's defected, appearing on the opposition channel.
Je vous remercie.
Then come the pictures of the forces loyal to Alassane Ouattara, the man with international backing to take the presidency now. But this was not the transition anyone wanted, bloody and divisive, and even with Gbagbo's exit, peace may not follow in Ivory Coast. Emma Hurd, Sky News, Johannesburg.
Well, joining me from the main city, Abidjan, is Craig Hitchcock, who's president of the Business Council for Africa. He's lived in the country he knows as Côte d'Ivoire for 11 years, and he joins us via the wonders of Skype. Mr. Hitchcock, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Now, look, the country has been battered by war. Its infrastructure is degrading. How does business in the Ivory Coast cope with all this? Where does it go from here?
Well, it's not coping very well at the moment, that's for true. But Ivory Coast Côte d'Ivoire, I should say, in the past when it's had troubles, very quickly rebounds and gets back on its feet. People are in hiding, as you say now, but as soon as this matter is solved, I'm convinced that within a matter of weeks, business would be back as usual. Even during the crisis, it had a reasonable growth rate.
I was reading today in the CIA fact book that per capita GDP, not total GDP, but per capita GDP is down by about 15% since 1999. It's not exactly promising, is it?
No, but we've had a lot of problems since the coup d'etat in 1999. This country hasn't really been stable, and it's had a series of mutineries and uprisings. But it's stood on its feet. I mean, it's the world leader in cocoa and coffee. It has a strong agricultural base. I remain convinced. I'm very confident about Côte d'Ivoire's future development, even though this is probably the toughest time I've had in 11 years.
Clearly, the outgoing president, if indeed he is outgoing, Laurent Gbagbo, was a failure. Why should we believe that his replacements will be any better?
He's a man who's got a lot of experience, a former World Bank director, a technocrat. He was chosen by the founding president, Houphouët Boigny, to be his prime minister. He's much respected by the international community. And if I counter that by saying that the man who's been in place for the last 10 years hasn't built one hospital, one new university in those 10 years.
If Gbagbo does go, are you confident that the country will return to some kind of normality, some kind of peace? Will there not be a backlash?
There's a risk, I think, of a short backlash, and a very localized one, between the intellectuals of the two sides. The country, 20 million, it's mainly agricultural workers. They want to get back to work. They want to sell their cocoa. They want to sell coffee, and they want to export it. It's a rich country's potential. One of the errors of the past was that they exported all their products unprocessed, unmanufactured, raw wood, raw cocoa, raw palm oil. They should really get down to looking at developing their own manufacturing and processing plants so they get the benefit of the value that's added.
Clearly, Mr. Hitchcock, that will take investment. From where will it come?
Well, up until this crisis, through the Business Council for Africa, of which I'm the president of Côte d'Ivoire, not the president of the Business Council for Africa, I have many, many people who are sort of on the starting blocks, wanting to come out here to look at investing. But with the current foreign policy advice, do not go, do not go, do not go, they're hesitating to come. There are people there who want to deal, who want to trade. The country is rich. I'm convinced it'll settle down. It'll settle down, probably not as quickly, but it will settle down and it will go forward.
All right, Mr. Hitchcock, on a line from West Africa, many thanks for joining us.